DreamWorks animation, you just need to be clear about how you define that.
Okay. Let me do it. Let me try it a different way then.
Okay.
Did you speak with Jeffrey Katzenberg about your Kung Fu Panda idea, or the movie Kung Fu Panda, after you left DreamWorks Animation?
The only conversation I had with him about the movie was at the premiere of the movie.
And what was that conversation?
Hi, Jeffrey, great movie.
You said that to him? Yes? Has to be
Yes,
audible.
yes.
And what, if anything, did he say to you?
Thanks.
And that's it?
That was it.
And Mr. Katzenberg didn't even acknowledge that he wouldn't have a great movie had you not come up with your Kung Fu Panda idea?
He did not.
Did that annoy you?
It's business.
Did you have any conversations with Mr. Young after you left DreamWorks Animation about Kung Fu Panda?
No.
Did you have any conversations with Mr. Young about anything after you left DreamWorks Animation?
Yes.
Were you two friends?
No.
How would you describe your relationship with Mr. Young?
He was my boss, and I was his, however you describe it, employee, not superior. I don't want to say inferior, because it sounds bad, but I was in his department.
When it was a good time to take a break, we've been going for almost 2 hours.
And, okay, just a couple more, okay. So, I lost my train of thought with the objection, so I apologize. But you said you did have a conversation with Mr. Young after you left, or you did not?
Yes, I did.
How many, approximately?
Somewhere between 4 and 5.
And what was the nature of those conversations? If you need to, I can break them up, but what was the nature of the conversations with him?
Lance had called me at one point because he was negotiating to work at a company called IDT to oversee in some way their fledgling animation company. And he had asked me to go to New Jersey, where the company was based, because they had a project that was in trouble. To go and work there for 3 weeks as a consultant to help the director and the producer of the movie get the movie back up on its feet. When he asked me to do it, I said okay. I was being paid to do it by IDT. Lance was not in New Jersey when I was there. Other than that initial conversation where he asked me to do it, I didn't talk to him while I was there. And then after I finished the job, he communicated to me and said that, in effect, that he was not getting the job at IDT, that he was somehow unhappy with the work that I had done, not because I did a bad job, but because I did a really good job. And I think that they felt like we need somebody more like Mike than somebody like Lance. And this is his words. I don't know what the actual reasons are for the reason they pulled the offer, but he was very angry with me. And at that point, I no longer worked for him, and I could tell him at that point then that we need not have any future contact.
Were there other communications you had with Mr. Young other than what you've just described? Because it sounded like 2 conversations, and you had mentioned more than that.
So he had called me, he would only call me if he wanted something. So he would call me probably 3 years later maybe 2 years later, because he was putting together some sort of presentation for financiers for an animation company that Lance wanted to create. And he wanted me to do some rewriting of the PowerPoint presentation to make it, to rewrite it, to revise it, to make it more presentational. So I said, okay. I did it as a favor. We had 2 or 3 conversations about that as I rewrote it over the course of that week. And I believe that's the last time that we ever spoke.
During any of those conversations, you didn't discuss any of the work that the 2 of you had done together at DreamWorks Animation?
No.
And I take it Mr. Young was not an ideal boss?
No, he was not an ideal boss.
He was, is it fair to say he's a difficult personality? Or how would you characterize it?
I would say that he is a difficult personality.
And did he ever try to take credit for your work?
Yes.
When?
Well, I'll give you an example. If there was something that we had to read, and we were going to have a meeting to talk to Jeffrey about it, Lance would ask me the day before, what did you think of it? And I would tell him. And then when we met with Jeffrey, Lance would present the thoughts about it, the same thoughts that I gave him the day before.
Was it your understanding that that's because he hadn't actually read it himself?
That is possible.
And that happened more than half a dozen times?
Yes.
Approximately. Was it something that happened regularly?
It happened with frequency.
Okay, I think you wanted to take a break.
The time's 2:36.